I'm not exactly sure how closely modeled after your video responses to it should be. Because in your video, you kind of mapped out the loves that you'd had and cataloged the kinds of love that they were. Now, I have loved a great deal in my life. A lot of people, a couple pets. I've had only really one great love, I think. I think everybody kind of gets one. But that's a silly thing to say, but love itself, interesting in terms of measurement, as you said, because in my study of poetry, came across an interesting fact, and that is basically one day Queen Elizabeth and her gaggle of poets that she used to keep around, on a rainy day, one day, just kind of sat down and wrote up what we know these days as the common precepts of love, like the Amazing Atheist talked about in his video. Those that Hollywood love. And that, but as for the other kind of love, the crazy self-preservation is denied sort of love, I think one has to explore the deeper aspects of the actuality of love as we feel it in reality, as opposed to Hollywood love. Love, I have theories about this kind of thing. Like most human emotions themselves, I feel, are rooted in instinct and blossom in the human mind, in the magnitude of the human mind, because we have these big, beautiful, insanely powerful brains, and all of these pathetically powerful mammalian instincts that kind of pound their way recklessly through our massive minds. But the love that I've known, it's kind of the same deal, though. Like, you can see the instinctive aspects, but the human aspects create this bigger entity, a force. But I don't know, at the same time, like you were talking about totalities. And I think when you say the word instinct, and you say the word totality, people tend to take a kind of nihilistic approach to it. Love is the urge to partake in the celebration of life, regardless of what your surroundings insist life is. It is the perception through the eyes of either two or family what life is. One might also sum it up as being the gift of self. After all things, giving wholly of yourself, no matter what. So that's what I really feel one of the major aspects of it is. I don't speak really in finalities. I try not to. But yeah, love, instinctively, obviously reproduction. Great loves, I think, happen between what are ultimately highly genetically similar people, who would produce what they both feel, I think unconsciously, incredibly capable offspring. And the kind of love you have for your family and for your offspring, I won't get into that, but That's different because that's genetic preservation, instinct. Now I say these instincts, that's not what it is. It's like what you talked about in your video, life being slowly dying. You know, life is, the point of life is to die. You die when you it's a gross ignorance, and it's a gross injustice to the things you're commenting on, and the things that you are, what you are, to speak that way about anything. I don't mean you particularly. I mean, like it's a negligence of one's own magnitude and the magnitude of what is around one when one speaks in finalities, sort of nihilistic finalities. It's like whenever I ask a friend before I see a movie, you know, what was the movie about, and they'll just like tell me the end, or what a book is about is just the end of it. You're ignoring the fact that the end, while it is built up to, basically almost has nothing to do, it's a completely separate situation from everything that has led up to it. So it's not the identity. The end is not the identity. The end is just part of the identity.
What I mean is that familial preservation, familial love, as an instinct, it's bigger than the instinct that is its root, but I feel that its root is pretty much the reason why it's inherent, it's intrinsic, it's undeniable, is because it's even more important than finding a mate. This is post-mate. This is the end result. I don't know.
But I think what we experience now is love. Millions of years from now will seem so incredibly basic to our species, trusting, of course, that we see fit to keep ourselves around. Because I think what we have are baby step versions of what's basically pure empathy, telepathy, almost. Ooh, spooky science fiction talk. I don't really know what else to say. I've experienced a great deal of love in my life. I come from a very big family, and I've loved a good deal of women. I really loved one of them. I still do love her. But I think really the way to measure love is to realize how not love-like your love was. The great loves are partnerships. The great loves are triumphs shared.
As long as there are people in your life, even people that aren't in your life, people that could be in your life, and for a good reason, as long as there are people in your life for a good reason, there will always be someone else to love. And I guess that it's kind of strange. I don't know, though, because the person I was with that I'm not with, we both keep finding ourselves in perfectly good situations to have what we did have, but we don't take it. And I wonder if that's because maybe there is something to all that spooky, semi-dualistic love talk. Best not to get swept up in it. Still, it's an interesting thought. Love is a fucking pain in the ass.
But I think that's because we don't really have a grasp as human beings on what love actually is, what it will be, what it could be.